Okay, stream's back on, but going to the bathroom. Be right back. All right. Here we go. Ready to get back at it with all 0 of my viewers. Jesus. Okay, so a little refresher, not just for my viewer, but also for myself. The way this is paced is we've got this mellow hallway full of traps. It's mellow because it's after the inciting incident, and we're kind of ramping down the excitement. Then you come across this sprung trap, ramping up the excitement because it piques your curiosity. You find a dead adventurer, which is more interesting. And then you see this anomaly up here, which makes the player think, okay, what the fuck is going on? So this is the main exciting moment of this area of the dungeon. And then we move over here to this waterfall with realistic lighting. And the purpose of this is to kind of, after this exciting kind of mini climax, sort of move down in that emotional range and get the player to just move forward. So they move forward, and then they get to this room. This isn't much of a set piece room. It's just going to be a natural, organic looking. Oh, natural, organic. Fuck, I've been working in a grocery store too long. Anyway, like an organic cave. Nothing really impressive about it. But they're going to be invited to dive because there's nothing else here. It's the only way forward. Dive underground, or underwater rather, and then they find this opening right here in the wall. It's going to be lit up. Not sure if this is going to be the color, but it's going to be made clear that it's the way forward because the player's on a timer here with their breath. So now that I restarted Creation Kit, I'm going to see if my shadow lights will work. Alright, it does work. I like the movable shadow lights. It looks better with the rocks coming out at different angles and stuff. And it kind of, when the player sees their own shadow going through an area and like going off the walls and stuff, it kind of creates a more memorable moment. So, moving through, this is where I've built to. This is just going to be a underwater shaft. I'm going to replace it all with Falmer pieces. Falmer pieces have the like bioluminescent blue like fungus on the top, which allows me to light it up in cool colors. Like for example, this shaft doesn't have an open top like the shaft at the beginning, so there's no sunlight coming through. It's just going to be bioluminescent, whatever this is, and that's going to allow the light source to make sense. You can't just have an empty cave with natural lighting in it. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, I'm going to change that. I'm going to save that for last, though, because these Falmer pieces, for some reason, in the creation kit, can't be selected once you place them down, which really sucks. I think it's just a bug. I'll figure out a fix later, but for now, since it's just an aesthetic thing, other than this top piece, which I just kind of nudged into place manually, I'm going to leave them alone and just create some default cave pieces. And then I'll just Control F and swap them all to Falmer pieces later. Alright, I set up my comments so they're in a more visible area of my screen, so hopefully that should help me stay on. Okay, so I had to build this transition right here because I couldn't find a piece that transitions between this shaft, which is exactly what I want, and the cave. There's a transition between this shaft and the Nordic ruin up here, but I wanted an organic space, so I went with a cave shaft. Even though I had to build this transition. I mean, it looks cool. It's a unique piece made up of like 20 pieces. Let's see. Okay, it's made up of like 14 pieces of rock. So there's nothing else in Skyrim that's quite like it. And the light helps draw the player forward and notice this as the way forward. So I don't mind it, even though it took a lot of extra work to just build a transition. So moving forward, we're just going to have this wind through a little bit. I'm just going to get my object window, get oriented here. I had to restart my client because, the editor, because shadow lights weren't working and I was having some stream problems. So we're going to go back to the cave. Secret paths. Okay, we're just going to create some winding turns. Got to make sure that I'm snapping correctly. I changed my snap orientation a while ago to orient the shaft to this entrance, so it's not oriented along the universal grid anymore. It's oriented to basically just its own piece. So I need to make sure this is in the right spot. This isn't connecting the way I want it to. I need to figure out what's going on there. Okay, this won't rotate it like I want it to. It'll move, but it won't rotate. Alright, there we go. I just had it on a different plane. If it's on a different level of elevation, you're looking at it from this angle, it looks like it's not lining up to the side, but it just needs to go down one. So now that that's in place, I'm actually not convinced that that's correct either. Yeah, I don't think it is because I got some Z fighting. I mean, this piece already has Z fighting all over it. It's just not a main piece of the kit. It's kind of used as an afterthought, sort of secret pass between two areas. You're not meant to spend much time in it. Anyway, I think it's still not connecting quite right. There's a seam down there, but I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I can just build another transition to cover up the seams, and I can continue with pieces that will stick together. The thing I've learned, and I think this probably applies to actual game design, like real jobs and stuff, is that some things just don't happen like you want them to. They're going to have bugs and stuff. And Creation Kit is incredibly buggy, so you just have to make do with what you have and roll with the punches. So I've got this weird seam right here. I'm just going to let it go. I'll come back to it. I'll make a note of it. And if it's too visible, I'm going to build another transition around it, like I did with this door. Just add some rocks to kind of cover it up, and then continue on from there. Because I could spend hours and hours and hours troubleshooting this one tiny piece, trying to get it to rotate correctly or rebuild it, or I could use that time more wisely and just move forward. So I'm going to create more winding paths, and so I can actually move on to the next set piece I'm going to build. Let's build a ramp. And we don't want to make this too long because the player's breath is going to run out. They've already spent some time just looking for the entrance. But we do want to make it long enough that they kind of worry a little bit. Breathing in Skyrim is not that big a deal because you can use potions, or some of the classes or races have traits, I think. I don't know off the top of my head. I haven't played Skyrim in a long time. I just make stuff for Skyrim. But anyway, you want it to be long enough that it creates a little bit of tension. Like, okay, I gotta get out of here now. But not too long that it's gonna be too big a threat. There are other threats. You want to make the threats in this dungeon, the big combat pieces, big hazards and stuff, you want to make them very clear in good moments that the player can enjoy, and not have the hardest part of the dungeon be, oh, the underwater segment that just happens to be there, and I thought it was just moving from point A to point B, but it ended up being a real chore to get through and had to hit F9 to reload 10 times. You don't want that to be the case. That's just frustrating. So we're going to create a couple more little twists and turns. This particular cave set has a couple of versions of the same turn. One is a little bit longer just to create some variety. Actually, let's go in a little bit of a circle here. Let's see. So you always go from the player's perspective. So they're going to the right, then to the left, then to the left again, and they're going down. Then another turn to the left. And let's go right and wrap this up. So it's just another little squiggle, and then they're going to be in the next area. So we need to rebuild this, or just copy paste it, so that they emerge from the pool. Instead of there being another rocky shelf or organic piece, it's going to be a man-made piece of architecture, kind of like this. It's going to be a stairway out of the water. Like, you realize, okay, I was meant to go through this trial. That's the thing. This dungeon's kind of like a... Okay, spoilers for, I guess, $1 Million Baby. I didn't watch the movie, but this is an example of what I'm going for here. You watch the movie, and at first it seems like a regular boxing movie with a heroine, and she wins some fights, loses some fights, something like that. Anyway, the point being, some point through the movie, she suffers a spinal injury, and then the movie it switches tone completely, and it's like one of those mind fuck things where it changes the point of the movie from just like a boxing slugfest Rocky remake of the early 21st century into, oh, it's actually a movie about debilitating injury and how people's lives can change just like that. So this level is kind of a similar theme. At first, it just seems like a generic cave. We want some cool moments with the whole anomalies and weird stuff going on and descending into chaos, which I haven't built much other than this purple thing, but we'll get there. But we want there to be a clear point where you are shoved into something way over your head, and you realize, okay, this is the actual dungeon. So we haven't even got there. We haven't even got there yet. Okay, so we're going to copy paste this shaft right here, and if I want to add some variety, I can copy paste the transition too, and then change it later. But for now, I'm just going to leave it as is. Look at it build all that shit. Anyway, Oh, I guess I didn't need to copy all the hallway, did I? Okay, so we'll take that out. Now we're just going to rotate this sucker. Because the size of the shaft is not that important. Heh. I'm sorry, it's called a shaft in the Crazy Kid. I have to call it a shaft. Anyway. Now we just got to nudge it into place. That's a lot of messed up geometry, man. Try and make it look roughly the same. Basically just covering up all of the seams. It's funny, it's like each pixel of rotation moves the whole thing so much. It's hard to really tell. But this looks good, and I can always undo it and reselect it. But for now, let's get all the axes away. Okay, this looks pretty good. Let's go and check the other side, make sure I'm not having weird seams. Alright, I can always double check this around the edges to make sure later, but again, this is just the shell pass. So, got the entrance. Oops, Jesus. What's up, Nick? Thanks for joining us. I was wondering who that third viewer is. I'm like, 3 people? Yeah, we're going to nudge that shaft. Okay, so we have no need for this waterfall anymore. Or these 2 things hanging out. Whoops. Yeah, you try and select these water special effect things without having markers enabled. Good fucking luck. Anyway, okay, so we're going to change this piece of wall to... needs to be a different kind of door. I'm debating if it should be a different kind of room altogether. Like, instead of it being an organic chamber, it could be an entirely man-made like chasm, kind of like using the Nordic set. Or it could just be the cave, but with man-made elements in it. I think I'm actually going to do that. Okay, you do that. Thanks for joining me, buddy. And by the way, thanks again. I am feeling better. So, we have the entrance here. Oh, I didn't copy any of the lights, did I? Assuming they're actually working. Okay, here we go. Got my shadow casting light. I don't think I had markers enabled when I copied everything, so the lights didn't get copied. There we go. Just helps reduce my eye strain while I'm working on this crap. So we have the water. It's the same water. It's murky. So I didn't really plan what this was going to look like too much. I did plan a little bit. I made some crappy diagrams. So here's where we're making right now. We got the anomaly right here, the waterfall and the stream that opens up into this big room. This is the shaft. And you got the underwater tunnel. And then I drew an angular room, like a ruin room, it's all built underground. I'm thinking I might just have it be the cave with this platform built in it, leading to a door that is clearly man-made. And the rest of it will be, it'll be ruin, more ruin. So we're done with the cave set for now. And yes, there will be a big fuck-off door. Oh yeah, I should be on anomaly number 3 by now. I haven't been doing much work with this. This is the only thing I've done. Basically, the player is going to go through a series of weird events that reinforce the fact that you're descending into oblivion. And this weird floating rock thing is one of them, but I haven't decided what I'm going to do for more ideas on cementing this theme. I was thinking could have some floating water. Like you can use, let's see, I'll show you. Okay, it helps to disable it. Okay, so see the waterfall? It's just like this ugly texture coming down, and then I re-enable this fog. You can have that going any direction. So I'm thinking I might take the slowest moving fog, the wet fog, and have it just moving upward. at like an odd angle, or maybe moving at you as you walk down this tunnel. Just strange occurrences that don't look like glitches. That's the difficult part. This looks a bit like a glitch. I have to have this weird colored lighting to really cement the fact that no, it's not a glitch, it's meant to look like this. So that's something I'm still working on. But again, since it's a detail and not a primary gameplay element, I'm not worrying about it right now. This is just the shell pass. So, continuing on building the shell, we've got this cave doorway right here when it needs to actually be a Nordic doorway. So there aren't any doorways built into the rock wall, but there are. Thankfully, they included a free door in the Nordic set. So we have a small free exit that you can rotate around. There we go. And it's got enough material built around it that you can place it kind of wherever you need to. Like right here, until it looks right. So I want to snap it to the rest of this wall, and then I'll let it snap into place. So this looks okay right here. And then that can be my doorway. It's gonna have some. This is gonna be a big moment. This will be a set piece. So I'm gonna spend a lot of time building this up with a lot of details and stuff. But for now, I'll just get the main pieces down. So we'll move this so that it's a little more shallow, and then there's gonna be a big staircase. Thankfully, like the doorway, there are free staircases too that don't have bits of geometry that are missing to save space. So we just have to find it. Here we go. Well, that's not exactly what I'm going for. It's an exterior piece that's used to build the temples. Here we go. Platform, big, stairs, free. Nope, still not it. It's like a big-ass block with stairs in it. You just gotta find it. I'll search for stair. Part of the learning curve of the creation kit, like a big part, to building speed and making things is simply memorizing what the names of the pieces are so you can quickly remember and get to what you need to get to. Like, since I haven't built anything in a long time, I'm just going through this giant list of shit right here looking for what I need. So I'm just gonna go down and preview everything until I find the piece that I want. Okay, we're getting close to it. So exit platform, blah blah blah. So we got this right here, and then probably need two of them, so build two, change my snap to this one stair, so the other stair snaps to it. There we go. Perfect. Now, since you're going to be underwater, you have to make the bottom of the stairs as well. And this is actually pretty big. We want it to be a little smaller so it's not going too far in front of you. Like, you don't want to go through this cave and then stairs are literally 5 feet in front of you. You want to like actually swim a bit to get to the surface. So these are too big. We'll find smaller ones. Let's see what number 2 looks like. I think this is about the same size. Yeah, it is. Okay. I'm just going to preview some stuff until I find what I need. Cool looking, but not what I need. got some generic stairs. I'm looking at other kits now because I know it's here. I just, oh. Guess what? I'm an idiot. I already put one down. I can just copy paste it. The bigger your dungeon gets, the easier it is to find things because you may have already used it. I'm a genius. Alright, so we got this freestanding block of stairs that we can... Now that I know exactly what it's called, it's easier to find it. Okay, so big stair single. That's easier. Aha, so it's in platforms. I want to find one that kind of stretches across, or perhaps this can be the only stairs. And I can have something flanking it. There we go. Okay, so I can have a platform on either side or whatever I want. Whatever I think can look good. I can move this back a little bit. I actually need to rotate it a little bit if I could, but it's attached to this flat piece here that wouldn't look right, so this might be the best I'm going to get. Or I may have to just make the room a little bit bigger. That's probably what's going to happen, actually. Got to make the room bigger so you have enough room to find the stairs in front of you, climb them, and then get to this platform. Alternatively, a number of ways I could solve this issue. Could make the water level even lower. It doesn't change the discrepancy in height between the entrance and the exit, though. So part of this is just figuring out how it's gonna look. Okay, I think I have an idea. We'll find a freestanding platform. Oops, that's not a platform, that's a stair. Yep, that's a middle piece. So we want, this is a piece with a stair. Got a big wall. Okay, here's more of what I'm going for. Right here. So we have this platform that's going to have some stuff on it. That stuff may include torches, more floating rocks and stuff. Like, I'm envisioning a big wow moment where you see, okay, this is definitely a test. I was made to get here, and shit's getting fucked up. So there's going to be a clear indicator that you're not in Skyrim anymore right here. Or rather, you're definitely on the path of not being in Skyrim. So there's going to be like perhaps some broken pillars, and instead of the debris being on the ground, the debris is going to be hovering in the air, as if it's in... the pillars exploded and they're in mid-shatter, just frozen like that. I've done that before. It looks pretty cool. So I might revisit that idea. Or I could have waterfalls going up along the sides of the entrance. Like I can just do a mock-up and see what this looks like. So we'll find this waterfall. And turn that bitch around. So we got water literally flowing up. And we could have, you know, of course, upside down streams. Or rather just... Or rather just, I don't know. This is playing around with ideas here. But we need to build the architecture first, and the effects can come afterward. I will spend some time on this room, though. It won't make it complete, but I'll spend the same amount of time that I did in this room. Because this, I spent a good hour or so just making it look right. So in my head, I knew that it would actually work. That this, because there's a lot of stuff crammed in this room. You got the adventure, you have the anomaly, and you have the waterfall. I wasn't sure if that was going to be too much in a small space or if they should be in separate spaces, but I think it works. So I'm going to do the same thing right here. I'm going to build this out a little bit, add some of the details, and make sure that it's an okay moment. Alright, so we need 2 of these because this room's too fat. There we go. No seam. And now we can build some stairs. Okay, so we got a stair single. Here's what I was thinking of. Build some stairs around the outside, and they'll just curve into the architecture. That way we can... The player isn't, just have stairs in their face as soon as they exit the tunnel. They have to go to the sides a little bit. Maybe I can curve these inward at a 45-degree angle. There we go. That looks good. I have to be careful though because there's no geometry on the bottom, so this is part of the whole process, is covering up seams, making sure that players that have incredible attention spans and explore every single little glitchy area of your level, they don't actually find anything. No seams or anything like that. You also have to make sure that they're not going to get stuck in here, so I need to move these outward against the wall. There we go. Cover up the ugly seams. Make sure they're up against the wall, and it looks pretty well done. Let's go top down, make sure the angles look roughly right. It doesn't have to be perfect. There we go. Good enough. Because no player is going to see the game from this perspective. Okay, so we've got this. It's still pretty close. We got some seams to cover up here. And then we have this bottom part that I'm not sure how to tackle. I have an idea. We're going to do some upside down stairs. So we'll snap to the current stairs, upside down, and simply move it into place. They don't really overlap that way though, do they? Let's try this. There we go. And then if you do swim toward the bottom, you're like, wow, what the fuck is going on here? You have some MC Escher shit going on. Actually, I could just... Rotating things upside down, everything is quite a pain. So I try and just copy paste where I can so I don't have to hurt myself trying to rotate everything perfectly. But I am kind of hurting myself trying to rotate to this. It's just not going the way I want it to. So we'll copy, paste, turn it upside down. There we go. Okay, so establishing themes is important. You want to build player expectations and then carefully break them. So one expectation that I'm going to try and build is purple light equals something weird. This is something weird. So we're going to add that purple light. Simple as that. Can make it really powerful. That's a bit of an eyesore. Not trying to kill myself. Put it right in the middle above the water. And we're going to think about our light source. Probably going to have like some purple bonfires along the side or something like that. It's not perfectly symmetrical, but that's okay. So, again, point of view from the player. They're going to see the entrance right here. I'm going to have some fungi and stuff lighting it up. And then we could have something right here, perhaps a mural or something like that. And then they're probably drowning at this point, so they're going to come up for air. Need to have something lit up along the stairs to point them toward the surface. Got to make it idiot-proof, okay? But we'll think about those lights later. So they'll come up for the air. They'll see the stairs they can climb, and then there's going to be this set piece right here. So, experimenting with the pillars idea, I can try that real quick just by copy pasting and create a mock-up so I can have an idea of what it might look like. So we're going to go over here where I have all these carefully set up hand-placed rocks. We're going to copy all them bitches, and then we're just going to paste them. These are trap rocks. Every single rock in Skyrim has bits of geometry missing to save on polys, but the trap rocks have to be fully built because they can kind of fall and rotate and they're affected by havoc. So I'm going to plop those over here. Plop. Do a little bit of rotating. Okay. So you want to think of shadows too, where it's very important where you place your lights so that they cast shadows in the correct location. So out here above the water might not be such a good idea after all, because while it does light up this front wall really nicely, the front wall isn't that important. It's what's at this doorway, and you can't see the shadows being cast by the rocks. So you want to have them a little bit closer so the shadow's more defined. I created this light with a bounce to it, so it's kind of like flickering, so you can see the shadows scatter across the walls too. I want to make it pretty bright, high contrast, and lower the radius a little bit. So only this area is highlighted. Everything else is unimportant. Lack of lighting is just as important as having lighting. So we got these broken pieces. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense for them to be just floating there because, okay, here's the thing. At the other area they have over here, the first anomaly, I don't think I built it yet. No, I didn't. The ceiling's going to be cracked open. So it's as if they fell and they're just kind of being suspended there along with the chest. So we're going to have some like partially broken pillars, but just to see how it interacts with the light, how it draws the player's eye up to where they need to go, and it leaves the unimportant bits of the geometry left alone. I think this works. So, experiment's a success. I can delete these later. I'll keep them here for now. This is going to be... I could go ahead and... Maybe I could make the sources. It might take too much time to find the correct color of fire that I'm going to have that's going to be casting these lights. Or I could leave there to be no source at all, which could enhance the unnerving ambience of the area, because there is no source of light for the other anomaly either. It's just this area is strange and lit up and highlighted in a weird color. So I like to do the busy work off the stream, so I'm on stream. I can kind of go to areas I already have prepared in my head, so the things I talk about sound more cognizant and relevant to what I'm doing than otherwise. Like, if you think this stream of thought is just a ramble that makes no sense, this is me prepared, okay? I'm not good at talking. I am not an eloquent speaker whatsoever. the other person who's watching this, my best friend Fletcher, he's a very eloquent speaker. You could ask him. Uh, he could serenade you with the ingredients of a cereal label. I'm not sure if he's even listening. He might be on the phone still. Anyway, so we've got this area. Let's slap a mural because the murals are really detailed, and they reflect and catch shadows of light and stuff really well. So let's just put a dragon. Makes sense that there's a dragon because the avatar of Periite, the Daedric prince that is leading us to this whole thing, is a dragon. This just doesn't really fit well on here. It does look cool with the light though. Anyway, I think statue might have a piece that can go on here. So I'm looking at statues. That's not what I want at all. What is this anyway? Oh, it's a Falmer statue. Man, whatever this was, I did not get to this in the game. That's huge. Anyway. Okay, so we'll create some more lights. These are going to actually have source. They're going to be regular old torches. Of course, they don't work. Why would they work? There we go. Turn up the brightness a little bit. And they're just going to be hovering over here. There'll be some candles or something like that. Just enough to light up the surrounding wall and the stairs. So when you're over here, you're underwater and you're looking up, you may see them. And they maybe need to be closer to the surface. Let's try and play around with that. Brighter, closer to the surface. Do I see you? No, not really above the water, but I do see it reflecting on the geometry. So perhaps we'll have some bright light sources right here, like torches, and then we'll have secondary light sources down here. And those will be actually visible, so the player kind of sees, oh, here's a platform with some stairs, I can actually go up there. I'll come to that later. As far as what to put on this wall, it's tough because flat things don't really work here. I could create something out of the busts, like the Draugr heads and stuff like that. I can create something unique. As far as what's going to go around this doorway, we need more man-made elements. So there's going to be some pillars coming out of the wall, perhaps with the torches. There are a lot of cool pieces that I haven't got to yet, to playing around with, that I can use to create a regal look. So that's going to be more stuff I'm going to do off stream, because it takes a lot of time to go through this whole list, and it's a lot of just downtime. As if this right here wasn't just going around and just doing downtime playing with things. Hopefully it's somewhat informative in explaining my process. Anyway, I think I've been streaming for 44 minutes. So that's about an hour and a half total streaming, so I'm going to stop here. I'm getting hungry and I gotta go to bed. Cool. I'm glad you like the shadows. You have a good eye for aesthetic detail. So I can't wait to get a move on with the detail aspect of this and create like really cool visual treats in each room, so that you can go like look at those and I can have some feedback on how to make those look good. as an artist, your opinion on those things and effects and stuff like that is really valuable. Yeah, this is a good stopping point. What did I do today on stream? Just curious. I did this shaft and pasted the shaft, and this actually took a lot of time. This took like, I don't know, 20 minutes just to build this stupid thing. I really wish there were more transitions, or I wish at least I could find them. I did spend a lot of time going over what I already did though, so I'll try and do less of that next time. I don't know. This is an interesting thing. Streaming is fun. It's not my forte for sure, but it's nice, and it's a log that I can go back to. Like while I'm cooking, I like to have something playing, if not music. I can listen to my own thought process and be like, wow, that didn't make sense at all. Or why did I do that when the answer was right in front of me? Stuff like that. So, gonna hit the old Control S to save. And from my buddy who may be still on the phone, going to bed shortly. Your opinions are super welcome.